everybody, and welcome in to another edition of the Hoops Betting Hour. It is Wednesday, March 10th, 2021. I'm the big man on campus. We're back here better than ever, 9 a.m. Eastern. Hope you all have your coffee and breakfast ready. We got basketball to talk about. I'm here with my trusty co-host, Donnie. Right side. Donnie, what's up?
Hey, feeling good. And by the way, I'm looking at my watch right now. It's 9 o'clock. Show started on time. Dope little opening here. I'm able to get in the chat box once again on YouTube to have some fun with you guys and talk some of these games because, Jeff, when we look at March Madness, even though it starts on Sunday with, we get Selection Sunday going, then the games start next week, a monster card today on a Wednesday, and I'm looking forward to it.
A lot of conferences to get to. A lot of the big boys get started. This is where the men are made, Donnie. We've bought more tickets punched last night, which we'll get into. I know you'll bring up in just a little bit. Thanks to everybody for checking out the show here. Again, we're here every day, 9 a.m. throughout March, right up to the national title game. That'll be here before we know it, It seems like once the tournament starts, so quickly it's over. But a lot to do still. We've got many games between now and Sunday. Brackets will come out. Wait a couple of days, then the big boys start. So a lot to get to. Make sure if you're new around here, you hit the subscribe button. You hit the like button as well. You don't want to miss a show. That's very important.
No.
We're going to be here every day. Donnie, let's get into it. A lot of people already in here. Thanks for checking it out. How was your night last night?
That was really good. I enjoyed the basketball card last night, even though it wasn't obviously as action-packed as what we think it's going to be today. But I know we're going to talk about in just a few moments that Gonzaga-BYU game. What an unbelievable start by BYU, but also shows that you get Gonzaga down, Jeff, you better keep them down because that team is so talented. You knew the run was coming, and we like to talk about, gambling and some odds that we have on FanDuel. There was a time in that game, Jeff, you were getting 2.5 points with Gonzaga live. If you were smart enough to get in, they easily come back and win that game by double digits. It was awesome stuff.
I heard so many people last night, if you were smart enough to get in. Listen, the whole world bet Gonzaga last night.
Everybody bet Gonzaga in game. Every single person, yeah.
I didn't. I bet BYU. Ooh. I bet BYU plus 11 second half. I said to myself, listen, they shot 70% in the first half, BYU. If they can just shoot a modicumly like half that, they're going to hang in this game and do enough. But Gonzaga's really good, man. Obviously, we know that. It's going to take a monumental effort to beat them. It's going to be interesting to see how they deal with when they go down like that against a good, really solid top 25 team. Can they come back? Can they fight their way back? Because, Donnie, the problem that they have is, if they go down like that against, anybody else that's not BYU couldn't do anything right in the second half. I mean, turnovers. I think they had 3 or 4 turnovers the first 5 minutes. They only had, I think, 2 the whole first half. So you couldn't protect the ball, couldn't make any shots. It just never went their way in the second half. But, yeah, incredible. Undefeated. We'll see if they can go undefeated and win the entire thing.
Yeah, Gonzaga closed out amazing in the second half. And also, when you're taking a double-digit lead at the half, when you eat into it right away, panic sets in on BYU, and it did. And they're still a really good basketball club. By the way, Jeff, also, I get a lot of DMs over the past couple of days. New shows on where it's at. Obviously, you know where it's at here on PicksWise on the YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, because when we go live, you'll get it directly, even if you forget. But also, just keep this in mind. Jeff and I are going to be here all this week, right up through Selection Sunday. And the easiest way to plan for the show, if there is a March Madness game, Jeff and I will have a show at 9 a.m. That's simple. Hey, first 4 next Thursday. Oh, Jeff and Donnie are on. Wait, Friday the tournament starts. You know what, Jeff? Jeff and Donnie are on.
Yeah, exactly. And there'll be a 2 days or so next week where there are no games, right? And we'll kind of deal with that then. But, yeah, again, we are powered by PicksWise, presented by FanDuel. So make sure you're checking out PicksWise.com, all the great articles going on over there. We got the content here. So what more do you need?
No more than you need. And by the way, the love is already showing, Jeff. Started the show, 1.25 subs, 1.43 now. Keep on doing that. We don't ask for much. We have a good time talking college basketball. We thank you guys for coming into the chat box. And once again, even if you're not watching it live, put the comments on there, hit the thumbs up button, hit the thumbs down button, ask Jeff questions that you have, but most importantly, hit the subscribe button here. That's how we know you guys love us. But let's not waste any more time because we got an action-packed hour to get through. Talked about Gonzaga here, but let's also talk about some teams, Jeff, last night that did go dancing. How about this? Cleveland State the dregs of college basketball headed to the tournament. Drexel making a reappearance. What, 1996, the last time they went to the tournament? And also Oral Roberts finishes it off in the Pentagon in an action-packed second half. Some people don't watch these games, Jeff, but boy, they were good ones, and these kids deserved it.
Yeah, Cleveland State, I was impressed with them. I liked Oakland last night, and they, Oakland just, for whatever reason, just couldn't make a shot. This is one of those games. And, Cleveland State did what they had to do, but I was really more impressed with Drexel. As you said, it's been a long time since they've been in the tournament. They're the only Philly school. I mean, outside of Villanova, who's not in the city, they're the only city Philly school that's in the tournament. So good for Zach Spiker and that group. They were the better team.
What, Jeff Temple's not making a run here? What are you saying now? Come on now.
No, well, I guess they could. LaSalle's not making it. It's St. Joe.
We could get this run together. Everybody can get in together here, Jeff.
Well, the A10's already. They've already been knocked out. So, it is what it is. But good for Drexel. That was an impressive win. Oral Roberts. That was the most impressive. It's not easy to beat North Dakota State. They play totally different than what Oral Roberts does, but that offense for Oral Roberts is fun, man. They've got some really great scorers on that team. Their guard, Obsmas, he kind of reminds me of like a Jimmer Fredette type of player. Leading scorer in the country, could take a game over. I got a weird feeling he's going to do something crazy in March. We'll see. But, tickets are punched. And, Donnie, that's the great thing about March, because this year – these teams, they're not normal. They don't normally get in. It's seeing those kids get in. They worked their entire life to get into the tournament, to go to college. A lot of those kids aren't going to the NBA. In fact, I don't think any of them are. Going to the tournament is the highlight of their basketball career. It's cool to see that,
Yeah, you know what I like also, too, is now you'll start to see the storylines, because a lot of these conferences, most people just, hey, I want the Big East and I want the Big Ten and the SEC. That's what I watch. You're going to see some really good basketball because these names pop up. And back in the day, it's a lot different now. These mid-majors can really play, where you would get a Kentucky or a high-level team going up against let's just say Cleveland State or Oral Roberts, and they blow them out by like 35 points. Not really the case this time. And again, we're talking about a tournament that you're not really going to have your fans packing the stands, and boy, this team travels real well, so it should be interesting to watch as we move on and keep going right here on the Hoops Betting Hour with Jeff Nadu, powered by PicksWise and also the FanDuel Sportsbooks. And before we get into conference tournament action, which a lot are kicking off today, Jeff, let's tell you about the contest here. The PicksWise Capper Contest is a winner-take-all event that will be taking place throughout March Madness, the entire tournament, folks. 9 experts will give out their best bets each and every day of the tournament. The expert with the most profit, not 9-1, but you lost a minus $20,000, money line here. The most profit will get the $10,000 cash prize. The tournament features John Rolstein, Richard Phillips, Megan making money from FanDuel Sportsbook, and also my man Jeff Nadu. There's currently 1 spot available. So if you want to go head-to-head with the big man, this is your tournament here. PicksWise will run this contest for the remaining spot, and this could be you. To enter, head over to PicksWise Twitter, retweet the contest, and reply why you want that spot. Folks, it's that simple. There's also a link in the description below. Get in this contest, but I got to say, Jeff, if I'm making the odds maker here, you're the favorite.
Well, right? Not according to some. There's other guys that I somehow should know, and they're the favorite.
Oh, no.
I got into it I didn't really get into it, but some guy mentioned he's in it too, and I said, well, hey, good luck. Hope you win. It'll be the ultimate decider, Donnie, on who is the best. I get a feeling John Rothstein's going to win. Like, just that.
But by the way, if John Rothstein does not win and you beat John Rothstein, Jeff, I think we need some T-shirts out there with a slogan for you, maybe.
Yeah, we got to get a slogan.
Yeah, we got to come. Somebody in the chat box here also. Like, we're always open on Twitter, DMs, or even on the show, or even in the comment section after the show is off the air, and you can still comment. Somebody needs a nice slogan that John Rothstein would make up about the big man on campus. That could be a fun little thing.
I actually got one. You want to hear it?
Go. Yes, go.
Jeff Nadu, period. Mountain of man on top.
Actually, I would just like Jeff Nadu, period.
Good point.
I like it, man. But let's get into some conference tournaments that are kicking off today. There are a lot of them, and we're going to start with the FanDuel Sportsbook. We'll go over the lined tournaments here, Jeff. I want to start with the Big 12 because you got some interesting information out. Now, look, we could go over each and every team and what their pluses and minuses would be, but we would still be on the air by the time the games ended tonight. So in the Big 12 tournament here, Baylor, obviously the favorite here, listed at FanDuel as a minus 140, not even getting a plus money number. But the interesting moves here now come. Kansas, Jeff, bit a little bit by the COVID bug, not so much that the kid's testing positive, but some contact tracing here. Now at a plus 500, Texas plus 600, West Virginia 6-1 also. What are we looking for here? And we'll keep it simple. Give me who you think is going to win the tournament and maybe a sleeper to watch out for.
Yeah, the Kansas news sucks, man, for sure. I mean, you would have liked to have seen them with the full complement. They've won 7 of 8, playing as good a basketball as anybody in the country. I'm going with Texas here. I think Texas at 6-1 has a little value. I think the only thing to hold me back on Texas, Donnie, is, Shaka Smart. But at the end of the day, whenever they step on the court, they are generally the most athletic team you're going to play. Defensively, they're really good. They've had no issue competing against pretty much every team in this conference. And when I look at their length, just everything they do, I love their guard play with Coleman and Jones. And Courtney Ramey's been terrific, man. Courtney Ramey was awesome down the stretch of the season. Final 3 games, double figures in all of them. Really was the difference in some of those games, particularly the Oklahoma game. I really like this team. I think top to bottom, they're really, really good. And Donnie, at the end of the day, in the Final Four, if Texas is sitting there, it would not surprise me one bit. They're one of the most athletic teams in the country. They all have a role on that team. I really like Texas. I think 6-1 is a nice price. I think it's a good sleeper, and I think it's a very solid pick to win this conference. You want to go a little deeper?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's do it.
I think a lot of people will say Oklahoma State. I thought what they did without Cade Cunningham, Lika Lely as well, they're still winning games without those kids. And, that's huge for a team because, it shows that the depth can prevail. I mean, Avery Anderson in that game against West Virginia, 31 points. I mean, that's huge, man. To not have your 2 best players and you still are able to beat a team like West Virginia and score 85, what that does is that is great for confidence. That shows that they can do things without those kids, and it's creating a lot of good depth. They're a team that's interesting as well. But my selection, who I think we need to look towards, is Texas. 6-1 is a great price.
All right, out west in the Mountain West, a lot of people don't get a lot of this basketball on their TV. It's usually that CBS Sports Network game that usually tunes in 9 o'clock, maybe a late one at 11. They play really good basketball, Jeff, and this is a condensed tournament, meaning there's 4 legitimate teams that can make a run at the Mountain West title, starting with San Diego State. I know you've always had an affinity for that program at plus 110. Utah State with Nimish Queta at center, plus 260. Boise State, plus 400. And Colorado State at plus 400 as well. Getting into that second tier, Nevada about 18-1. But if you're looking at this conference, San Diego State, Utah State, Boise State, and Colorado State, fun teams. Also, Wyoming sitting out there with a 60-1, a talented team as well. What are we looking for in the Midwest contest? And as usual, who's going to win it? Who can make a run in it?
Man, what a great conference this is going to be tournament-wise. I mean, you have not only 4 teams that can win it, but there are teams that are bubble teams. They got to have some success in this tournament, so a lot to play for. Let me just take a look at Utah State quickly. They're fully healthy again. Raleigh Worcester's back. That's huge. They finished the season 4-0, including keep in mind, remember at the beginning of the year of the conference tournament, they beat San Diego State twice. Remember last year, they stole this bid from San Diego State as well. So now that they're healthy, a lot to look forward to there with that group. They need to do a little bit to get into the tournament, I think, still. Boise's got the best player in Derek Alston.
He looks like Kevin Durant, Jeff. He looks like Kevin Durant with his mid-range game. He's an amazing player.
No, he's a really good player. Yeah. And, you look at San Diego State, I do have an affinity for them just because the program's culture is just so terrific. Whether it's Dutcher, Steve Fisher, it really doesn't matter. When you go to San Diego State, you play defense at a high level, and you look at offensively this year, they are very good. Okay, Matt Mitchell's a leader. They've got some depth. They can shoot the ball at a high level, which isn't a norm for them. They're usually kind of a grind-you-down defensive team. Very experienced, some continuity. I like their big Mensa. They have this kid, Lamont Butler, a freshman who's terrific. San Diego State, I'm not generally a guy that wants to lay a number in a conference tournament unless I think they're a dominant team, less like a Belmont or somebody like that, which that didn't end up working out. But I look towards, man, it's so tough because Colorado State's hanging out around there as well. I'm going to go Utah State, Donnie. I think Utah State healthy at plus 260 is the play. I really like Bean. I like obviously Worcester, the freshman. He's been really good for them.
Who's the sharpshooter? Who's the bald-headed sharpshooter with the band around his head? He's slipping my mind.
Yeah, that's Justin Bean. Yeah. You got Raleigh Worcester, and you have Cada, who is a matchup problem. And I think at the end of the day, he performs best when it matters most. And they just have a well-rounded team. They're well coached. I like Utah State. I'll lean with grabbing them. Defensively, they're really elite as well, and they can, I think, play right with San Diego State. Keep in mind, swept them. That was the last time San Diego State lost on it.
No, you're correct. And by the way, is it Brock Miller, the sniper?
No, I think the ball kid.
Yeah, he's 40% from three. Brock Miller. Bean is 25% from three.
Yeah, I might be getting them confused, but yeah, he's the kid with the headband, right?
The headband, yeah, I love it. If you're talking about a team, because Jeff, this is a good point that we bring up, because not only do we like to pick teams and see how they win, but when you get into the tournament, you want multiple ways to win, right? Dominant big man, good point guard play, lights out 3-point shooters. Utah State has it all.
Yeah, they really do. And as I said, getting Worcester back is pretty big for them.
Huge.
He's the guy that kind of stabilized the point guard. Yeah, the kid, the sharpshooter, looks like Popeye.
He does. It does. You're absolutely right. It looks like he could pass for 22 or 52. That's one of those players that you see in college basketball. You never know what his age actually is. And D. Curry brings up a good point. He has missed the last 2 games, but it's precautionary on his back. So it's not anything like, hey, his knee gave out or his ankle gave out. They basically said, hey, he might be 52 years old, needed a break before the
kid's a gamer, man. He'll be in there. Don't worry about that. He looks like someone, like, if you ever see BYU, they have kids that are like 30.
Yes. Utah State has a lot of Mormons out there as well, so maybe. Yeah, no,
somebody else is saying that Utah State doesn't score, which is wild. I mean, they average 75 points a game. I think you want to keep that in mind. They're fully healthy now. So you remember, I think it's important sometimes some people will look at UConn and Donnie and mention season-long stats. Again, they didn't have their best player for a month and a half. So I don't put a lot of stock into that. Look at the eye test. Right now, look where they are, right?
Yep. Same thing. You can equate that to all sports. NFL coming down the stretch. Hey, boy, they were really bad in the first 5 games, but you're in week 15. If they're playing well the last 5 weeks, that's what you look at. Same thing about getting healthy. It's a great point you bring up to try to find that value. So in in this tournament that we're taking a look at now, the Mountain West, we got the winner. We got a long shot. Any other thoughts before we wrap this one up? Moving on.
It's a great conference, man. As I said, you got 4 teams. And hey, Donnie, don't forget Nevada, man. 20 to 1.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's
a good price on the Wolfpack. They have been – Grant Sherfield's really good, man.
He's a great player. Yeah.
When we were doing the Big Men on Basketball, Donnie, we had a segment, team to back, team to fade, and a player that you enjoy watching. And I remember one of the episodes, Ryan brought it up. He brought up Sherfield. And, he's so right. Sherfield was terrific, man. Just does it all. He's just great. I really like that team as well. And they can beat they beat Boise and they beat Colorado State. So you keep them in mind as well. There's 5 teams here that are real good. So this should be a great tournament. It always is.
By the way, Nevada, a little bit of Ivy League action here, Jeff, with Desmond Cambridge. So fun teams to watch in the Mountain West as we continue on. We'll see how that tournament plays out. And certainly, exactly. There you go. So we'll keep on moving there. Let's go to Pac-12 tournament, Jeff, because it looks like we got a coin flip with the top 3. Checking out the FanDuel Sportsbook right now. Oregon, Jeff, plus 210. USC, plus 230. Colorado, plus 250. Then you have that second tier coming in. Give me a winner, somebody who thinks is going to win, somebody who can come from the back of the pack and catch a big number.
Yeah, Oregon played USC once this year and lost by double digits. That was their only loss since the beginning of February, basically. When the rubber meets the road, can Oregon beat USC? Okay, can they take down that big hulking Mobley, those Mobley kids? Keep in mind in that game, Isaiah Mobley didn't play. So that's rough to lose by double digits without the one Mobley kid. USC just continues, Donnie, to play really well. Nobody's talking about USC. Have you heard one talk?
No. Nobody talks about the Pac-12 at all.
And USC is quietly 21-6. And down the stretch, you lose to Utah. That's rough. you shouldn't lose by 18 to Colorado. They took their lumps, and Oregon State as well, for that matter. USC, and I don't have the bracket in front of me. I don't have every bracket in front of me. USC needs to avoid Colorado. That was their bugaboo team this year. Lost twice to them. That's a tough matchup, it seems like, for them. I'm going to go with Oregon, though. They're fully healthy. Duarte can take a game over. I don't think any team in this conference wants to see that zone that they run. I just think fully healthy, they're the most talented team. And it seems like every year Oregon makes this type of run. I don't think Duarte's Peyton Pritchard. He's not he's more like a Dylan Brooks type of guy, but I'm going to go Oregon. I feel like now that they're healthy, they're just kind of rolling. I didn't like some of the things I saw from USC late in the season. Some of those bad losses that they had, they couldn't score, and that's concerning to me. But, yeah, I'll go Oregon. As far as a bogey team, like a deep shot.
Yeah.
Colorado, but they're not really a deep shot either. They're just kind of they're same odds. We go deep. The Pac-12 is bad this year. Stanford, I guess. But I really don't want to go deep into this conference. I'll, for the sake of the show, we're going over every conference, and I'll go with Oregon. But I don't really even want to play a dog. Maybe Washington State. But this conference sucks.
No, it does. And you take it, Paul Ramirez puts it best. Pac-12 gets no love because half the country is asleep by halftime, and half the country is trying to find out, honey, what channel is the Pac-12 network on? Come on, man. If you're not playing on widescreen like, ESPN or something during the day or Fox, we're really not going to be able to find you in that spot.
That's the norm. We're based on East Coast.
Yes.
That's just true. It's just the truth. And in a roundabout way, Paul Ramirez, in the most rudimentary, basic comment ever, is right. There are both, like, people like me don't exist really. I step really late. A lot of people don't.
Nope.
You're asleep by,
Yep. I roll over and see if I won the game in the middle of the night, typically. Yes. So.
Right. And it's the same thing with, like, outside of the Lakers, in the NBA or any other team. It's the West Coast. This is not people just aren't as interested. And it's hard to find. That's a good point by you. I still have
it certainly is.
Look through my thing on where Pac-12 network is. Still it's definition as well. Did you notice that?
It's way up there. No, you're exactly correct. Like, you want it's trust me, I know exactly where that channel is in a couple of those games. No, it's bad. It's a rough network, and even have the Pac-12 After Dark set like it's some Arsenio Hall lounge where they talk to other. It's really an odd setup network here. But the one thing that we do know where to find a certain show, Jeff, right here on PicksWise. That's a Hoops Betting Hour with Jeff Nadu, powered by PicksWise and also FanDuel. And by the way, like, we're getting some good stuff here. DFS Bachelor, one of my good friends there, Kyle, says, how about this for a shirt? Jeff Nadu, strong to the finish because he eats his spinach.
I don't. That's the problem. Spinach is not one thing I enjoy.
Come on, Jeff. Fake it till you make it. Say, you know what? I wake up every day, bust out a can of spinach. You know how you go and you get the dented cans at the Acme? Yeah. Yep. Get a little can of spinach that was made like 6 years ago. Get strong in the morning, big man.
Yeah, I've never been a spinach guy. I guess maybe I'm more – yeah, it's never been something I've enjoyed.
I'm a broccoli rabe. Yeah, give me some broccoli rabe on a nice sandwich. I can enjoy that.
Yeah,
but I'm not just – don't put spinach on my sandwich. You're right.
Yeah, I'm going with a broccoli rabe as well. By the way, Donnie, I've heard through the grapevine, one of my friends who owns a little luncheonette, I've heard through the grapevine he's creating a big man on campus sandwich.
I'm going to assume cheesesteak, hoagie, lettuce, tomato, onion. Yes, awesome.
No, it's going to be I think he said it's going to be sausage and peppers. So.
Oh, we're going to have to get a couple orders of those and knock them down toward the tournament. But another tournament starting today, Jeff, big one here, SEC tournament. And again, I love it. It's, we get treated. A lot of people take this week for granted in conference tournament play. And I tell people all the time, I put it on equal, for me, for my purposes, gambling, betting, watching, on an equal playing field as March Madness because of how many teams are in it, how many tournaments get an auto bid. You win, you go home, you win, you get the auto bid. SEC, Jeff, Alabama plus 240, Arkansas plus 300, Tennessee plus 500, Florida at 600, LSU at 700, even keel in this one. Give me a winner. Give me a dog shot here.
I'll knock it out in the same breath. Missouri. 10-1.
Oh, I like it.
I'm going to take a shot.
We going Pinson?
Yeah, I'm going to take a shot with them. Keep in mind, they beat all the big boys in this conference, or the quote-unquote big boys. Beat Arkansas, beat Tennessee, beat Alabama, beat Florida, beat all the good teams. They did lose to those teams as well. But I think we'll get we'll look too much at their record, 15-8. But at the end of the day, Missouri is a very good defensive team. Offensively, I like Drew Smith a lot. The kid from Evansville played a couple of years at Evansville under Marty Simmons. I like him a lot. And I like Tillman. Tillman is a very good defender down low. He kind of makes or breaks whether they're going to win or not. If he can stay healthy, stay on the court, he's a mountain of a man. It's going to be tough to deal with. I like their wing players. You mentioned Pinson, who, really good free throw shooter, a kid that can kind of, both those guards are good with, assist rates, just kind of moving the ball around. I know they go stretches without scoring, but they're a team that's just kind of, I think, one of the groups that I trust offensively. And it's going to be tough because Alabama's really good, and I think Tennessee will make a run, but Missouri I keep going back to them. And I think they have what it takes to beat a lot of teams. They beat Illinois, beat Oregon, beat a really good Liberty team. So, beat Oral Roberts. I mean, when you look at their resume, Donnie, out of conference, is there anyone more impressive? I mean, did anyone look at Missouri's resume? I mean, they beat a lot of really good teams on this resume. So I think they have what it takes. They can beat anybody in the country. They have the ability to do it. They're experienced. They have a pretty good bench. They have the continuity that we talk about and we want to play. So I'm going to grab Missouri. I think really good price, and I'll take a shot with that group.
All right, let's keep it moving down the list. How about a little Big East action here, Jeff? And obviously, we thought Villanova probably would head into this tournament cruise and how high of an actual seed they can get into March Madness. But now taking a down step, not only losing Gillespie, but also losing some other players here as we head into tournament play. They finished, obviously, best record in the conference. You got Creighton, Connecticut, Seton Hall, St. John's, Providence, Xavier, Georgetown, Marquette, Butler, and DePaul. And I know who you're raring to go with, because if you can, read between the lines on Jeff Nadu here in the Big East, I think I know a pretty good spot where he's going here. But looking at Villanova, they're still going to be in March Madness. They're going to be, a team in Selection Sunday that gets it. But boy, you want to talk a team about leaking oil heading into conference play March Madness, it's Villanova. Give me a team that you think you can win it and maybe a longer shot here in the conference.
Yeah, a couple of teams leaking oil, man. Villanova, Xavier looked terrible towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
Obviously, Creighton has, they didn't look real bad. They just had some off the court issues. But, I look at UConn, and I just think it's hard to go against them. Here's the thing, Donnie. There are two things the public is doing in the Big East. They're taking UConn, and St. John's has gotten steamed, man. They were 20-1. They're now 9-1.
Yeah.
You know it's St. John's that you're betting?
Yeah. And they're not playing at Carnesecca Hall, so come on.
Right. If you ask me who do I actually believe is going to win, this is a conference that's not as good as a lot of people think. I think Creighton.
Get hot, Zagorowski, motion offense.
I do. I think deep down, I think they're behind McDermott at this point. McDermott's back. I think McDermott made a bad comment that he shouldn't have made, and I think they probably had some good meetings and stuff. So I like Zagorowski, though. I think, player-wise, he's as good as it gets in this conference. They've already shown many times this year they can dethrone anybody. Offensively, I don't think there's anyone in this conference that can beat them. And look, Donnie, I've been impressed by them defensively. They've not been as good defensively over the years. They're kind of like a fringy type of Iowa team where they always can score, but they don't really get a lot of stops. They've been really good on that end this year, and I think if they can continue to do that, they're as good as anybody. I think them and UConn will battle it out. I'm going to take the better price here with Creighton at plus 260. I think they have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, and I believe they have the best player in the conference.
Yeah, it should be an interesting one as it wraps up. But again, sort of, half-heartedly with Villanova, it would have been nice to see if they could compete and where they would go in the tournament, and also obviously in the Big East tournament. Let's keep going to another big tournament. And that is the Big Ten. Illinois steam rolling down the stretch. You got Michigan opening up, Iowa, Purdue, Ohio State, Wisconsin, and yes, those Rutgers Scarlet Knights heading towards Selection Sunday here in the Big Ten, Jeff. A lot of front runners. As we know, we need one of those, but we also need somebody coming from that middle of the pack saying, you know what? This team can make a run.
I'll give you it. Purdue.
Purdue.
Yeah, I like this Purdue team, man. I bet them a few different times towards the end of the season, hit on both. I feel like an expert on Purdue at this point, Donnie, because I've watched them so many times. I feel like I know Matt Painter. let me ask you, Donnie, is there a team over the years that has been more kind of like just solid? You're always going to get really good defensive teams. They don't turn a ball over. They're good with, they're good at home. They're good kind of on the road. They can go different places and win. They always have good bigs.
Yes.
The guard plays good. I like them this year because they have a good mix of veteran and then the new kids. Like this Jaden Ivey kid's terrific. I like Eric Hunter and Stefanovic, just good wing defenders. Trevion Williams has struggled a little bit towards the end of the year, but generally the best players come in and play the best at the end of the year. And Donnie, one of my favorite players in the country, Zach Edey, this 7'4", 285 giant. Have you seen this kid play?
No, I have not.
Donnie, when I tell you, okay, he is smooth around the rim, I mean it, man. He is a fun kid to watch. I urge you, take a look at the kid. Donnie shoots 75% from the line as well.
Yeah.
And he shoots a lot of free throws. The other day, Donnie, I had them against Indiana. He literally saved the game on one of those bank three, like try to bank it in to cover.
Yes.
He just stood over everybody and rebounded the ball. That's what he did. And it was awesome to watch. I really like Purdue. I think they're a team that has come on. This is a 4 or 5 seed in the NCAA tournament. Nobody really talking about Purdue because of Iowa and Illinois and Michigan. But at 9-10 to 1, that's a pretty good price on Purdue. They have a lot of things that they do a lot of things well, man.
Yeah, before we get to the games today, let's go over one more tournament here, the Big Sky Conference, and a lot of things get lost. Big Sky, Big West, Mountain West, West Coast Conference. You get a lot of these jumbled up out there, but they still play good basketball. And Jeff and I we have a kinship here because of, watching tournaments that nobody else even knows where they're at or how to even get them online. The Big Sky obviously is one of those. You got Southern Utah, leaders of the conference this year, 12-2 in conference play, Eastern Washington, Weber State, Montana State, Idaho State, all the way down. An interesting tournament. And again, we joke about where do you find the Pac-12 network. Most people don't even know the teams in this conference, but you know who does? Big Mental Campus knows these teams.
Yeah, and for most of the year, Eastern Washington, the Eagles were awesome. I mean, they did everything they had to do. It wasn't until late in the season where they kind of coughed it up and ended up losing to Idaho State, a really bad loss. It's like 13-point favorites. And Southern Utah found a way to kind of figure their way in. I think they get another crack at each other. Keep in mind, they were 1-1 during the season, Southern Utah and Eastern Washington. But, when it really comes down to it, I really have no interest in fading Eastern Washington. They are really, really elite offensively. They can just fill it up in a hurry. I don't know if you've seen them play this year, Donnie, but they are elite offensively, really have no flaws on that end. Okay, they're a great rebounding team. They don't turn it over. They have tons of guys that can score. They knock down their free throws and put games out of reach. And I think they're better defensively than Southern Utah. In a one-off game, I have no interest in fading them. And the fact that I can get them at a plus price, I'll eat it up. 160, good enough for me. As far as a deeper down team, Montana's down this year. I don't know. Montana State's interesting, but I'm just not going to throw a team out just to throw a team out. The bottom of this conference is pretty bad. Idaho and Sacramento State, there's just not much there. I'm going to go EWU. If you could get like an exact matchup, EWU is going to beat Southern Utah. I'll take the plus 160 here.
There you go. Half hour rolling through the hour today on the Hoops Betting Hour with Jeff Nadu, powered by PicksWise and also FanDuel Sportsbooks. We are going to get into some individual games here. We're also going to open it up to the chat, what games they want to get to as well. So a little bit of a free-for-all. But before we do that, we're talking about games. We're talking about making bets, where you need to make the best bets and decisions.
Yeah,
Let's get after with FanDuel. Go ahead.
But by the way, Donnie writes it, says Jeff loves Seton Hall. I don't love Seton Hall.
Yes,
I love them historically. I don't love them.
That's what I mean, though. Just hey, look, your family. Sometimes family fight, Jeff. But hey, you got to have that love for Seton Hall.
No, I hate them this year. I just, and I should say I don't hate them. I hate Kevin Willard. Kevin Willard needs to be fired. Also, Donnie, and we'll get into it when we break games down there. I have another guy that needs to be fired as well for his disgraceful season. But let's talk about FanDuel, one of the best sports books, the best sports book in the business.
Yep, new FanDuel Sportsbook customers get a $1,000 risk-free bet when they sign up today. You can use this in any college basketball game or futures market all throughout the month of March, including this week's conference tournament. Sign up with the link below in the description and claim this now. Customers must be 21 and present in one of the legal online betting states: New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Colorado, Indiana, Michigan, Virginia, Tennessee, West Virginia, or Iowa. See full terms at the FanDuel Sportsbook website. And please remember to gamble responsibly. Jeff, you know what's great about this? It used to just be like customers in New Jersey, and now you keep adding state after state after state after state for FanDuel. Pretty soon, everybody's going to be involved with this, big man.
Yeah, you don't have to just list states anymore.
No.
It's going to be everybody in the United States. Let's hope. That'll be a great day for everybody. It sucks that there's still some that are left out. But, Donnie, we got some games to talk about.
Yes, we do. Let's go. We got now, see, earlier in the show, we like to pick out a couple games that we want to hit. Then we open it up for a nice little free-for-all, which is great because we have plenty of time to do a lot of stuff here for us. Exactly. Put your game out there, but let's hit a couple games early. 6:07, 6:08 on the rotation. How about this one, Jeff? We're talking noon basketball here. In the ACC, NC State and Syracuse, FanDuel opens up as a 1.5, now goes to a 2.5 in favor of the Orange. What are we looking at here? Day basketball, ACC.
Yeah, the issue you have here for NC State is they are so – I mean, we know about Kevin Keats, and he was at UNC Wilmington, now at NC State. You know, he is a guy that wants to press. He wants to, you know, kind of get you into mistakes and create offense that way. You know, he'll attempt to do it, but he's not going to turn Syracuse over. I mean, Syracuse is very good with the basketball, 30th in the country in turnover percentage. They have guards that aren't going to be bothered by a press. They beat, you know, they just beat the press. It's just that simple. Beat NC State in both games this season. I have no reason to believe why bettors aren't taking Syracuse. It makes total sense here. Devin Daniels hasn't played off and on the whole season for NC State. Just a team that I think is struggling. And, you know, when you look at them, though, towards the end of the season, they had success. But I think it's important to look at kind of what went on there. They won the final 5 games of the season. Did have a good win against Virginia. Keep that in mind. But the other 4 wins were just kind of blah. This is a tough kind of step up. You had trouble against Syracuse this year, and they just don't really do things that are going to help NC State have any path to offense. And I don't trust NC State defensively at all. So I guess I agree with the move at 2.5. I wouldn't want to go much higher than this just because you have to remember at the end of games, Donnie, it's a really brutal feeling.
Yes.
To be up 3 or 4 when you lay in 2.5. Okay, because you're
getting a wide open 3. Somebody's getting a wide open 3 on you.
Right, and the money line is just too high to play. I don't really ever want to play a money line above 1.5. So, yeah, you have to really, you know, be able to make those free throws, and you know that's something you want to look at. And Syracuse, luckily enough, is one of the best free throw shooting teams in the country, shooting at almost 80%. They don't let you back in the game. 2.5 is a solid number. Wouldn't go much higher than this, though.
Jeff, 3 o'clock today. How about this game? Arkansas Pine Bluff versus Jackson State. Are we talking, is Deion Sanders coaching this game? Because they are favored by 8.5 at FanDuel today. What are we looking at? 3 p.m. in one of the lower level conferences. But as the big man likes to say, you can still eat in these conferences and you can find value. Yeah,
SWAC tournament here. Keep in mind, Donnie, Jackson State have not lost. Let me ask you, when do you think the last time Jackson State lost? Give me a date.
I don't know. Like that. That's how low these conferences. I'm going to go. I'll give you a guess. January 17th.
Not even close. The last time Jackson State lost, December 20th. That's how good Jackson State is. They're very good.
Before Christmas.
Let me tell you a little bit about Jackson State. To anyone that doesn't know about them, they're coached by a guy, Wayne Brent, terrific coach. They have a kid, Javius McKinnis, an absolute beast down low. This guy can eat. He is a very good 6'7", 6'8", rebounding machine. He's just very difficult to handle in this conference. And Tristan Jarrett is as good a guard as you'll find. Jonas James as well. They are really good defensively. That's where they make their calling card, Donnie. Not only are they the best team in this conference, they are a top 85 defense in America. They are as good as it gets on that end. They turn you over, which is big in this conference. If you know anything about the SWAC, they turn the ball over at a very alarming rate. On offense, not anything special. but they don't have to be anything special because they win games because they're elite defensively. They have not given up more than 60 points since early February. That's how good defensively this team is, okay? They're going to go to overtime and you're only going to score 57, 58 points. That's how good they are. They're going to struggle, I think, a little bit when it comes to down the road in this tournament because, again, Prairie View's very good. Texas Southern's playing well. But when I look at this game here, you ask yourself, in both games this year, Jackson State didn't win by more than 8 in either game. I will give George Ivory and Pine Bluff some credit. I know Pine Bluff on the surface is a bottom 10 team in America, okay? But at the end of the day, they fight. And I got to give them credit. They're a testament to who their coach is. If you know anything about Ivory, he's a legend in this WAC. He's been there a very long time. And they play hard. They had a bear of an out-of-conference schedule. They play hard. But here's the problem that Pine Bluff has. Their only path to offense, okay, is getting into the teeth of the defense and getting to the foul line. Donnie, there's no team in America that depends more on getting to the foul line than them. Jackson State, I think that's how they stay in this game. If you're Pine Bluff, I look at this game and I say, how does this game not go under? I love the SWAC. I love Jackson State, and they should win, 61-51 or something here. But this is going to be a sloggy game. I think you're going to have a lot of shots go in for this to go over. I'm going to lean under 127, 126.
There you go. And M. Dilly says, big man on campus knows everything about these smaller schools. And again, we'll get through a couple of these games and we'll open it up.
I mean,
to
not
some
for
things.
nothing. I prefer talking about these games more than anything. So.
But Jeff, then we'd only have me and you talking in here maybe. So
I don't know about that.
I'm kidding here. Let's keep it moving here. Boardwalk Hall, Atlantic City. Now, keep in mind, game is played where? In Atlantic City, in New Jersey, so not lined on FanDuel, but we are college basketball champions, and we love to talk a little Iona Gales basketball as you see them here today facing off. What are we looking at, Jeff? Because a lot of the same. Hey, meet the new coach, same as the old coach. Obviously, we know Patino's in town. Cluis has had a beautiful run, or you had a beautiful run throughout the MAC tournaments. They get a big win yesterday. Is there any reason to believe, even though Siena's a pretty good ball club, that Iona is not going to make another run and get to March Madness this year?
Yes, because I think they're going to lose today.
There we go. Yeah, set it up. I
don't know why are they a favorite in this game? I'm trying to understand that. I guess it's because they're.
Is it just the Iona because they're Iona and they always do well in the tournament?
And it's Rick Pitino, not Tim Cluser.
Yes.
If Tim Cluser the coach, they're 2.5-point dogs here. I don't know why they're a favorite here. I'm still trying to understand that. Listen, I'm going to take Siena. Siena is going to be my play of the day here on the show. So. Yeah, I don't understand this one. If I get beat, I get beat. But I'm going with Jalen Pickett. I'm going with the best player in this conference. I think rubber meets the road. Siena is the best team. I picked them preseason. Carmen Maciarello has not had the best of seasons just because of the shutdowns and stuff. But they're still quietly 12-4. I think they're really good on the defensive end. One thing I love about Siena, Donnie, is they take a page out of a really good team's defensive book. They can defend without fouling, which you have to be able to do. And when you're a team like Siena, if you can do that, you're going to win a lot of games because a lot of teams in these conferences can't defend without fouling. Nice rebounding team. Get to the line. I like Pickett a lot. I'm a big fan of him. This kid, Manny Camper as well in the wing, I really like. And they got a transfer, Donnie, from Pepperdine, Jackson Stormo. Great.
Yes.
What a name that is. Jackson Stormo. Sounds like a surfer or something, but he's a really good player, really good big. I'm taking Siena plus 1.5. I don't really get why they're an underdog here.
Yeah, fluid offensive team, fun to watch also. They got hit with a little bit of transfers going out, but they still do have a pretty good basketball club here in the Metro Atlantic. Everybody worked up here in the chat box having fun. Close to 150 people watching live early AM. Many, many more will watch this broadcast on replay. Leave your comments. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the thumbs down. But make sure before you do anything, hit that subscribe button here so we can drive that number as high as possible because this is the primer week. We're getting through conference tournaments. Once we start the madness next week, it is going to be a lot of fun. Let's keep going here, Jeff. 6'11", 6'12", a 6:30 tip today. Now, hold on here. We got Duke and Louisville. Duke is favored in this game at FanDuel, -2.5. Did people watch say, hey, Duke's back? Did you see that game versus BC, big man? Don't sleep on Duke. They're going to make a run, baby. Or
they
no?
can't lose 3 in a row to Louisville. They have to win. Here's a problem. They're not that good. So, yeah, they have to win, but it doesn't matter. Because not every time you have to win.
They have to win, Jeff. You have to factor that in.
Good for them. I have to go on a date with Kim Kardashian, but probably not going to happen. Listen, Louisville, and I'm going to wait on this one because this number is going to keep going up probably. Louisville is playing well. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of what they've done against Duke because I like Louisville. I think they're better than they may indicate. And here's one thing I know about Louisville. Okay, they are always going to be very good on the defensive end against the three, which is gigantic. You look at this year, opponents only shooting 30% against Louisville, and it was pretty evident. That's why they lost the games against Louisville because, they want to shoot threes. They want Matthew Hurt to go out there and do what he does, but they're really good on that end. I'll lean Louisville. I don't know if I'm playing this game. It's an interesting
We're going to
one.
get points, though, Jeff? Do you think we get points in that one? Because Duke looked pretty good on offense, but obviously we know BC pushes tempo, doesn't play much defense. How about that 140.5 number? Any thoughts on, tempo in this game? What are we looking at there?
Yeah, both only got to, I think, 135-ish, I believe. I got to look back. I think one got to the 150s, one to 135. Yeah. So one did go over. But, yeah, I think Duke is really kind of dependent a lot of the time on the three. They're a pretty well-encompassed offense, though, when I look more into the numbers. Yeah, I don't know. Duke, you always have that thing in the back of your head that, it's beating a team's hard 3 times in a season. They do have to win, but I just don't think it's a great matchup for them. I mean, that's been shown all year. As far as the total, I don't know. Totals are tough, man, in the tournament. I think in any kind of game like this, the under's the play, but
more likely Duke team that shows up, the team that played Saturday night and got dusted by UNC, or the team that showed up and crushed a bad BC team? More likely today.
The team against NC. Yeah. I think that's who they are, I think. I don't buy into the whole, well, Jalen Johnson's gone, so they're going to be good. Keep in mind, they lost the final 3 games of the season. Okay? I mean, and they lost to Louisville twice. So, yeah, I think today, Donnie, you know what's going to happen? Mm-hmm. They're going to get the steak drived in to their sternum. This game is over. Duke is going to the NIT. Is the NIT going on this year? I don't know.
Put it this way: does Duke want to go to the NIT this year if they get invited? Are they going? Or are we going to have one of those?
No, of course.
Here, I'm going to go back to a press conference here, Jeff. I never thought we should have been playing this year anyway with these circumstances. Yeah, but if you were the number 1 team, you'd have said how important it is to fight through the bottom.
He had Zion Williamson on this team.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
He is
Cam Reddish and the boys. Come on. Yeah.
He's the worst. I love him always. He's always the guy that cares about the players. It's like, come on, Mike, stop, dude. Like, if you had RJ Barrett and Zion,
yeah,
you'd have want to play it if the Ebola and the swine flu and all that stuff is going on all at the same time.
No, you're exactly correct. Let's keep going here, Jeff. Big Ten action, 6:37, 6:38 on the rotation. Minnesota and Boo-Booey's Northwestern squad. FanDuel opened up at 1.5 as a favorite towards Northwestern. Dipped a little bit now, down to -1. Minnesota, Northwestern.
Yeah, I'll make this quick. I just wanted to talk about, Donnie, the fact that Minnesota is 0-10 on the road this year. They've not won a game on the road.
Who was that? Syracuse out there?
Minnesota has not won a game on the road this year.
Yeah.
And by the way, this game is on the road. They have to leave Minnesota and go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. What am I missing here? I know Northwestern isn't great, but Minnesota stinks, and they're not playing well. Liam Robbins has been out. They don't have their big. They're very dependent on Marcus Carr. I guess everyone's thinking that, and they did lose the final 7 games of the season, so it makes total sense. Northwestern isn't a great team, but you mentioned Boo-Booey, a nice player. Defensively, they've been good. They were good against Minnesota in the last game. Chase Oldige, a good player as well for them. He's put up 28 over the last 2 games. Donnie, Richard Pitino must be fired. If you're Minnesota, I don't know how you can allow this to continue. I mean, it is dreadful. 0-10. You can't win one game in the Big Ten without fans. There's no fans this year. What's the excuse? What is going on?
Hard to go on the road, Jeff, to play when there's no fan. Wait a second. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, exactly. Come on.
Yeah, you can't go on the fact, well, again, there's a tough atmospheres.
So hard to play at Duke. Why? Nobody's there.
Yeah, or, hey, we went to Michigan. There was no one there. We went to Rutgers. There's no one there. Yeah. The rack was dead. There was no one there. Yeah, rough. Rich Pitino, see ya. Go sweep up. Bye.
No, exactly. Let's get this up. Now, look, we completed what we needed to do here. Now, I'm going to scroll through the chat box to pick out some things here. How about this, Mike G? Right in your alley, Jeff. 11 a.m. college basketball tip today, Jeff. He wants to know about Northern Colorado and Sac State. If we line this up, 601, 602, opening up here at FanDuel, -2 as a favorite for Northern Colorado. Now up to -3 with a total of 133, 11 a.m. basketball, Jeff. Any ideas on this game?
This is one of the more comical things about these conference tournaments because they put like Northern Colorado and Sacramento State, who are both West Coast teams. You're basically playing them at 9 a.m. What a gauntlet, man. And it's like these two teams aren't doing anything. I have to ask, who asked that? Mike G?
There you go.
I got to ask you, Mike, like, that's just one of the whole, like, I have to bet because it's on at 11 a.m., right?
There you go.
You don't actually want to watch that or have interest in it, do you?
Are we getting where are we at, Jeff? We got to scour the internet for this one? Is this an ESPN Plus game? How can we even get this one?
Nah, this will be on like Flow TV or something probably. But no, Mike, like I get you want to play it, but it's like it's not even a good mid-major game. Like it's two teams that aren't going to win anything. Like Northern Colorado do two things well. Well, actually, I don't even know if they do two.
Yeah, what do they even do? Sure.
Yeah, well, they do two things well. They make threes and they are good against the three. But I don't know. Sacramento State, yeah, look, no offense, Mike. I'm not playing this game. I don't have much interest. I don't care about it. I completely clicked over it. It's early. It's a whole different element. Northern Colorado doesn't have Jeff Linder anymore. They're not a vintage Northern Colorado team. So, yeah, I have no idea. I don't want to watch this. I don't have any interest in it. I don't think it's a bettable opportunity. Look elsewhere, man.
Let's go to Jansen here, good friend of the chat box. UTEP FAU. Does UTEP have a flat spot from their win on Kansas? And I was watching that game, live. Couldn't even believe the score. Kansas actually pulled that one out, and rightfully so for them. But if we set the game up today, Jeff, 645, 646 on the rotation, FanDuel opens up as a -2 favorite to UTEP. They jump to -4 now over Florida Atlantic. So Jansen says, hey, what are we looking at here? Flat spot, good spot. UTEP gets a bounce from Kansas, or the bettor's looking and say, hey, that UTEP team, right? They almost beat Kansas. Sure, I'll take them today.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I would go the other way. I think you're totally right. I think that's exactly what people are doing here. And they don't really know how good Florida Atlantic is. And I'm not saying Florida Atlantic is the top team in this Conference USA, but Florida Atlantic's a pretty good basketball team. They won their final 7 of 10. They're a very good defensive team, Dusty May's group here. Jalen Ingram's really good. I'm not a buyer in UTEP. I don't know why Kansas scheduled that game, to be real honest with you. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. But, yeah, I would be on – if I had to play this, I would lean FAU.
All right, keep going through the chat box here. Let's take a look at this one. How about this, Jeff? Bucknell and Colgate. If we look at the lines and set it up today, 7:30 p.m. game, and FanDuel opens up. How about this line movement, Jeff? Opens up at -14. It's now down to 11.5. It's Patriot League, correct?
Correct.
There you go.
Yeah, I get the move down. 14 was one of the worst numbers of the season. I don't know why Colgate. I know Colgate's good, but I don't think people realize that Bucknell's pretty good also. John Meeks is back. He had 31 the other night against Lafayette, who's a very good basketball team, dropped 92 on the Leopards in their first conference game. Bucknell under Nathan Davis is playing good basketball. These teams didn't play during the regular season. Colgate did beat really everyone they played, but again, look at their kind of wins. They're usually by like 10 or 11. That's kind of what they do. And Bucknell do a lot of things well. They're good offensively. They don't turn it over. Pretty solid defensive group. It's now down to what? You said 11.5?
11.5.
Yeah, I wouldn't really go anything lower than that. I mean, 14, if you were able to get 14 and you were savvy enough, if you know what I mean, to get 14, some people may have done that. I don't know. You're pretty good at this. But, yeah, 11.5, I wouldn't go too much lower than that. But, yeah, I don't know why Colgate was ever listed at 14. That's way too high for this game. Bucknell's solid.
No, they are a solid team. And just food for thought here with Colgate, Jeff, if a little backtracking here. Matt Langle was my second baseman. So there you go. So a little intertwined college basketball knowledge as their head coach. I grew up with Matt Langle. He went to another school, but in our summer league baseball games, he was on my team. He was our second baseman at that time.
No way.
Yeah.
He was a Dunphy disciple, I believe.
Dunphy disciple, very good college basketball player. If you followed his career, that was those really good Penn Quakers teams that rolled through there. He's done a great job in the Patriot League there with Colgate. He's probably on his way up pretty soon to get one of those mid-major jobs and on the way up.
I love Langle. No disrespect to Aaron McKee. I mean, look, I don't know what Aaron McKee will do at Temple, but Langle was the guy I would have wanted. I think Langle's elite, man. He's really good.
No, and you look at the schedule for this year too. 11. I mean, obviously, 12-1. So only played 13 total games this year in conference play. He's done well also. Dom the Don says UNC -6.5 versus ND. Don't have an official line here, Jeff, with FanDuel just yet for those games, and you'll see that a lot as they filter through during the day because the games end last night. They got to figure out what the line is today. So we'll just base it off of that sort of line here. UNC versus Notre Dame. Love the comeback from Notre Dame. Shouldn't have been down that much as it is, but does UNC step on them today? Does Notre Dame say, hey, look, we're going to get a bounce. We shouldn't have won that game. We played hard. We won. Now we're back today with house money. How does that stack into the game today between the Tar Heels, Jeff, and Notre Dame?
That was a crazy win for them last night.
Was a crazy win.
This is usually where teams like that bow out generally. Is usually. I don't know. I didn't look much into that game. UNC is playing pretty good right now, playing good basketball. They're gigantic, which it's always tough to bet against them. They rebound the ball at a really high level. But I've talked about it. Notre Dame can score. I don't think they can really defend either. Over seems like a pretty good bet there. I'm not a big over guy, but I think over makes sense there. By the way, great name. He is Dom the Don, and it's THA. Yes. Anybody that uses THA is a Don.
They know what they're talking about.
By the way, I'm a little disappointed in you.
Who?
How did you not mention Mount St. Mary's at the beginning of the show?
Why not? What are we going to mention them? They look like they played in the high school gym last night, Jeff.
They won. They beat Bryant. Give them respect, Donnie. What the hell?
Were you celebrating?
No, I actually like Bryant. I was sad to see that. But we told you on the show, Mount was probably the play. It was too many points.
By the way, you did say you don't recommend doing this, but last night you did recommend doing something, and I believe it was profitable. Do you know what that was?
Yeah, weirdly enough, they don't ever bring those kind of things up.
Somebody did in the chat box, so somebody actually did. But
that's it, man. I asked him about a game. It's wrong. It's like, well, yeah, I'm just going off the top of my head, but yeah, as far as that, yeah, it did hit Drexel and Iona, right?
Yes, money line, sure. Yep.
Plus money, winner.
All right, quick question here in the chat box. Ryan says, can Cal cover the 6? So we're going to go off to the Pac-12 here, set it up for you guys. 635, 636, Cal, Stanford. FanDuel opens up at 6.5 as a favorite, Jeff, for Stanford. Now it's 6 even. Total drops a full point from 132.5 to 131.5. Any thoughts on this game?
So, yeah, I want to take you back, Dottie. Super Bowl Sunday this year.
Let's do it.
Do you remember there was a game after the Super Bowl in college basketball? Do you remember what game it was?
No, I don't. That's wild.
It was Cal Stanford, actually. And listen, I gave out Cal plus 10. I threw it out on Twitter. They were down 16 with 4 to go. They fight back and get a cover, 70. I think it was 76-70. The number was 10 in that game. I had to fight to get it. And now you're giving me a Stanford team that's a little bit more healthy against a Cal team that's just been a mess over the final month and a half of the season. Cal sucks. I think Stanford probably win by double digits here. Won't be a game I'm playing, but I don't think Cal is Cal got lucky in that game. I made money with them there. I'll just bid adieu to Cal. I wouldn't want to know with them this year. And that's that.
And hanging up on the mantle, Jeff, a quick moving hour, no technical difficulties. This is fun stuff. And I got to tell you guys, it's only going to get better throughout the tournament here. So thank you for joining us here on the Hoops Betting Hour with Jeff Nadu, powered by PicksWise and FanDuel Sportsbook. Jeff, I always like to leave the show with you, giving the people something, shutting it down and saying, you know what? We came, we conquered, and we will be back.
Yeah, we went over a lot of stuff, a lot of conference tournament futures, a lot of games. We even answered a lot of your questions. I always try to involve the audience. But I will keep saying this. I don't really know why Siena is an underdog today. I think they're the better team. I'm going against Rick Pitino. Not a bad place to be sometimes just because he's not an easy guy to root for, in my opinion.
And under normal circumstances, Jeff, you would make the short drive down the boardwalk hall to make sure.
No, I'm going to tell you right now, if I could go to this game, I would be at this game.
Next year, plan on it.
Oh, yeah, because I'll be like Nucky Thompson next year. I'll be the mayor of Atlantic City. So, yeah, look forward to it. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Please make sure you go subscribe. Make sure you never miss a show. We're here every day. We'll be here tomorrow at 9 a.m. Same time, same place. Me and my co-host, Donnie Wright, said, I'm the big man on campus. You all have a great day. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the Hoops Betting Hour.